Rich in tradition, named by Captain Cook in 1774, and with more than enough sporting achievement per capita to shame almost everyone. If you still haven't guessed, this week we're on the fast tracks in New Zealand. And while the all-conquering Team New Zealand take a rest before next week's defence of the America's Cup, international powerboating returns to Auckland after a gap of 14 years. During the interlude in the sailing action, the speed, glamour, thrills and excitement of the top 20 6-litre and Class 2 crews in the world will provide a grand spectacle for those who also share an enthusiasm for top motorsport.
I wish you all the best for your days of competition ahead, and to the Kiwis among you, please go well. To our overseas competitors too. For Auckland City, we see it as a chance to be a great host.
And there is no doubt who is grabbing all the headlines. The Dubai-based Victory team is to offshore powerboating what McLaren is to Formula One cars.
He's trying to be close to me.
Because I lose him when he moves to you, I lose him under that pipe.
Okay, if you just turn around a little bit towards me, because you just get lost behind this.
But Victory team are by no means the only big players on view. Andreas Ugland and Ken Thorne were among the other Class 1 drivers choosing to try their hand in Class 2. Pole position is the first action on the water. And although it doesn't determine positions on a grid, as in motor racing, it does offer the competing teams a chance to size up the opposition. Reigning Class 2 champion Halfan Harib, with his co-driver Ali Nasser, take the early lead with 185.07 kilometres an hour. Ugland and Hillstad thrash that at 193.12 kilometres an hour. And all eyes turn to Victory 7, at the cutting edge of technology, but virtually untested before the arrival here. Ex-Class 1 champion Saeed Al-Tayr and Mohammed Al-Gaith down the course in 23.842 seconds for an amazing second place. In the 6-litre division, reigning champions Saarinen and Jokinen are the quickest on 28.001. So, for of the 14 who choose to compete in pole position, overall, Ugland and Hillstead proved they have the quickest boat. In 6-litre, the other champions should be the team to chase, but for everyone, the unprotected waters they now face in the Gulf when they race is a different matter. As the sun sets, there's much to relish on day 2. Day 2 dawns sunny and warm, light southwesterly breeze, and an air of confidence among the catamarans in the busy pit area that this might just be their day. Auckland boasts the highest tower in the Southern Hemisphere, its presence adding to the impressive total of 30,000 horsepower assembled below it. Picking a favourite before play begins for real is never easy. For example, for all his heroics the previous day, Ugland's boat is unstable in the slightest chop. Saarinen likewise in 6-litre, with 2 very quick American crews, plus the experience of Italy's #1, Mario Invernizzi, ready to catch the crown should it slip. The course for Heat 1 is a friendly configuration of 2 laps, circumnavigated 7 times by Class 2 and 6 times by 6-litre. The yellow flag is a signal for everyone to get in line, 30 metres astern, and in a sea of white foaming water, the World Championship is underway. But there's an early complication. The lead boats miss the first turn buoy, and while they quickly backtrack down the course, New Zealand brothers Wayne and Tony Carson, number 18, with the advantage of a little local knowledge, slip quietly into the lead. The Anglo-Italian, or should I say Welsh-Italian partnership of Ken Thorne and Matteo Nicolini, number 9, join in the pursuit, and along with the reigning world champions, eventually return the Kiwis to their original position. Few, however, had calculated Saeed Al-Tayer and Mohammed Al-Gaith would get to know their Class 1 replica racing machine quite so quickly. And soon, everyone is chasing rainbows. Number 7 disappears over the horizon. Torn apart, it's a tough time for the monohulls. Attelstaff number 5 holds on grimly to 5th, ahead of Norwegian teammate Harold Halvorsen, number 91. Contrary to Class 2 and pit lane predictions, Invernizzi's rubberized monohull is leading the way in 6 litre, ahead of American number 1 Paul Whittier, both embarrassingly in front of pole position winner Andreas Ugland. The trimaran has never been regarded as a stroke of genius from designer Fabio Buzzi, even so. Meanwhile, on lap 3, Harib and Nasser find themselves striding purposefully through Al-Tayer and Al-Gaith's commanding lead. The crew of number 7 have developed a serious leak in the escape hatch under the boat and are being doused in seawater. They retire. Kiwi crew Warwick Dawson and Pam McLennan are also getting wet, but in rather more spectacular fashion. Their boat breaks up. No leaks though for the Welshman. Elevated to 2nd following Victory 7's withdrawal, Thorne is on a roll and catching Harib and Nasser. Attelstaff and Morton Halle are also up 1, if you'll pardon the expression, with 2 laps to go. 2 miles to go, and Victory 1's lead is a mere 11 seconds. But it's all under control. Halfan Harib on throttles sensibly does no more than necessary to secure the 400 points and conserve machinery for the remaining 2 heats of the championship. There is hope for Wells though. If those 2 heats produce choppier water, Thorne and Nicolini could be in with a real chance. Having said that, 400 points for a win means everyone's still in with some sort of shout. What happens though when Saeed Al-Tayer and Mohammed Al-Gaith mend their hatch? And has Invernizzi produced a 6 litre knockout with the first punch? If he can do this in the rib on the flat water, there should be something pretty lethal in the rough. End of day 2. Back to the drawing board for some, while for others, there's a chance to celebrate on the town. Day 3 is called a lay day. That means the crews prepare for the next race, while the wives and friends enjoy the sights and sounds of this extraordinary country. Day 4, race 2, and Victory 7 is repaired and ready for battle. Ugland's trimaran, though, is still looking at its best on the crane.
We felt we have a very quick boat, but of course it's not so good in the waves. It's a trimaran.
So how about today?
Today, unfortunately, the wind is coming from the north, and that means it's quite open out there, which means I think we will see some waves, and again, it will be difficult for us.
How important is it to get 3 finishes?
I think it's a very, very important finish the three race. Yeah, it's now our race will be against victory number 1 against Kalfan, because the number 7 stopped in the first race. Our race will be near Kalfan and try to go in front of Kalfan.
Thursday we were 110% the whole race. Our little monohull, it gets a bit out of shape over 110 mile an hour, and well, I suppose it'll be the same again today.
Ken Thorne prepares himself for another bruising experience on Mother Nature's unpredictable racetrack, while confidence is riding high in the Victory camp. The course is extended by 3.6 nautical miles per lap. The sun is still out, but the wind has swung precariously to the north. It is the customary UAM start, followed by the now customary surge of Dubai Blue and Welsh White. Attle is in the battle. Harold is hanging on. And the Allenbys of England, although not quite ruling the waves, aren't ruled out completely. But for Ugland, it's nice try, Moran, but unfortunately, only another nice try. Elsewhere in 6 litre, the USA are hot-footing it ahead of the Italians. The Australians are raising their game ahead of the Kiwis, but only just. The Italians fight back, but all in vain. And eventually, Andreas and Jan find small respite in some flat water and set about the Allenbys. Thorne and Nicolini are third. Harib and Nasser second. But on the day, one boat and one boat only produces something very special. Saeed Al-Tayr and Mohammed Al-Gaith are simply stunning. Welcome back to Auckland with the points after round 2 of the Class 2 and 6 litre UIM World Offshore Powerboat Championship. Victory Team are in charge in the higher division, while it's still all square further down. And a devastating run from Victory 7 in the second heat is put into perspective by Saeed Al-Tayr.
You always give it your best shot. I was surprised that the other boats didn't come along to an extent. I was surprised that we went that ahead, but I think this boat is longer and wider, has a better tunnel. It gives you an advantage. I think it's 90% boat and maybe 10% drivers.
Today the sea condition was very tough. We were very hard on the equipment, the boat. In this kind of race, you know, just you have to push the boat. You know, just you want to be in the lead, or you want to just to get the maximum points. Where we kept us pushing the boat, you know, just in the rough sea. I think, you know, we are lucky to finish today. The boat, we got a lot of beating there, and we're happy we finished. You know, just we collected more points.
And another spectacular sunset ends a very good day indeed for the Dubai team. Day 6, and the dawn brings a dramatic shift in the weather. Sea swells are around 2 meters, and after a course inspection, even the well-prepared championship leaders are concerned.
It's not really good. It's really going to be very challenging. You're looking at about a meter and a half solid braking. So there is a unpredictable conditions there. There is no rhythm, and it's blowing from I think from the west side. It's worse than yesterday when we tested. So it's going to be a whale of a race, in my opinion.
Just one of the facets that sets offshore powerboating way ahead of its motor racing counterpart. As well as the demanding conditions, the course is extended. The long lap is now over 20 miles, and finding the tiny marks amongst the swells will be increasingly difficult. It's the sort of challenge that has spurred a long line of the sport's protagonists for almost half a century. And much as they complain about racing in the rough, deep down, it is the catalyst to sheer fear at over 100 miles per hour, and the subsequent adrenaline hike on which most of them thrive. The third and final heat of the championship will throw up a completely new set of circumstances. This is now a more level playing field, and the underdogs might at last have their day. But not, of course, if Altair and Mohammed Al Gaith have anything to do with it. From the moment the green flag is raised, they're on the case. Key championship issue, however, lays astern. Halfan Harib and Ali Nasser Victory 1 must finish at least third, while Ken Thorne and Matteo Nicolini, number 9, will try and beat them into submission. And there is now no shortage of candidates willing to muscle in on anyone's party. This is as bloody a battle as you'll ever witness in powerboating on the high seas. One, then the other grind out a small advantage before being forced to retreat from the intense battering. It is fascinating stuff. A day made in heaven for monohulls. But where are they? Once again, apart from Thorne, the top 5 are all catamarans. So, is the mould broken? Has technology developed the ultimate rough water racing craft with twin hulls? It's a good case. Back to the race, and with the championship delicately balanced on the outcome of 4 boats battling it for second place, Harib and Nasser need to make a move. Altair and Al Gaith still lead, but newfound exuberance from Allenby 71 and Low 19 is threatening to hand the championship lifeline to Thorne. If he finishes second and Harib 5th, the title will go back to Dubai, but only by 2 points. And that is too close a call for comfort. And that when breakages are almost inevitable. In spite of the furious battle behind them, at the halfway point in Heat 3, Saeed Altair and Mohammed Al Gaith have built a lead of almost 10 minutes. It is one of the most remarkable performances of modern powerboat times. They came, remember, with an untested boat, no practice, and but for a loose hatch would now be champions designate. In 6 litre, while Jeremy Watts in the Lorne Campbell designed trimaran is finding conditions very much to his liking, once again the title issues are being sorted out astern. America number 2, Rick Ford 69 is second, but the winners of the feud between Invernizzi and Whittier will lift the overall title. Again, the Cats are proving more than a handful for the monos. In Class 2, with 2 laps of the championship remaining, the resistance has been broken. Allenby England and Low Australia have reluctantly succumbed to the pounding. Harib and Thorne are left to slog it out between them. Number 7, Saeed Altair and Mohammed Al Gaith extend their lead even further. Victory team are in control. Even the normally resilient Norwegians are forced to concede. Staff is 5th and Halverson 7th, with Ugland retiring. And that might have been it. But you know what they say, never forget your Welsh. And true to form, Thorne drags every ounce of energy out of Nicolini's monohull in an attempt to hijack Harib and Nasser at the last. By forcing the pace, he might enforce the error or even the breakdown, at least splitting the 2 Dubai teams to earn championship silver. Wisely, Harib and Nasser refused to respond to his taunts. They let him pass, knowing a 3rd or even 4th will see them home and dry. You can't help wondering if Thorne and Nicolini will now admit the racing life of the monohull at this level is probably limited. When you struggle to live with today's catamarans in the rough stuff, it's time for serious consideration. Round the final sweeping bend on the southerly fringes of the Gulf, Victory 7 is now completing one of the all-time great performances of Class 2 offshore powerboating. The lead just 3 seconds short of 14 minutes after almost 2 hours. And they cross the line ahead of Thorne to record back-to-back wins. Not good enough to take the title, but certainly good enough to convince most who witnessed it that Class 2 is in for a facelift. Another Super Cup performance comes from Paul Whittier and John Mulvihill, home in front of Invernizzi to lift the 6-litre crown. But there is never any real doubt after Heat 2, where the celebrations are likely to begin. Ken proves in the end to be the only thorn in the side, but even his and Nicolini's embattered resistance is insufficient to derail the Victory Team bandwagon. Disappointment though for the Italians. The rough water they had ordered arrived on cue, but a broken throttle they hadn't requested. But no one is arguing the team of the tournament are on top of the final heat podium. Saeed Al-Tayer and Mohammed Al-Gaith, twice winners, and Hafan Harib and Ali Nasser, the new UIM Class 2 World Champions.
A little celebration tonight, maybe?
Yeah, we should celebrate it. You know, this is after today's race, we should celebrate it real big, and we are willing to.
How about this man on your right? Class 1 and Class 2 World Champion in the same year.
Well, I'd like to congratulate him. He is really, you know, just he worked hard for it. In Class 1 and in Class 2, he's been doing a superb job, and he deserves it. You know, just if you do your homework, you give it 100%, you get the result, and that's what he's been doing for a long time. And I've been lucky, you know, just to race with him in the same boat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lovely. It's been 14 years since you had a major powerboat race in Auckland. I mean, did you ever think that it wouldn't come?
Yeah, it has taken some time. You know, New Zealand as a city has grown a lot since that event, and I think the sport's growing as well. And yeah, one was wondering a little bit whether we were ever going to get it back. It takes guys like we've got, you know, special people like Graham Wingate to really become sort of the motivation and passion to drive it, and that's been fantastic.
So you're back on the map and you're going to stay there?
Absolutely, and we're really excited about the big guys coming down and racing. Yeah, it's fantastic.
So Auckland returns to the main business. The other little confrontation with the Italians is next on the agenda. It's time though for us to leave. Like the song says, it's far across the seas. See you next week.